What is good, everybody? It is time, finally, for my 2022 musical notables, favorites, however you want to say. So yeah, these are going to be my favorites of the year. I have a bunch of different categories that end up going through, from different genres to independent to mainstream, all that good stuff. I'm gonna be ending up talking about a lot of levity in this, and I hope you are excited to find out what my favorites were for last year. Got a Patreon. Let's go ahead and get this out of the way. Patreon.com/BlipMasta5. They actually ended up getting the list early, so they actually know who these winners are for me. And yeah, if you want to get extra content ahead of time, you can always join the lovely patrons on patreon.com/BlipMasta5, or you can go in the description box. There you go. I don't know why everything's leaving my brain right now. If you want to just click the link there, okay? But yeah, thank you to the patrons for supporting what I do here, because you guys give me the motivation to keep doing this stuff, even if it comes out a little bit later than I initially expected it to. But yeah, we're gonna get into some different categories, and I will tell you my favorites, and sometimes even honorable mentions to these categories. So yeah, as always, we like to start off back at the hometown. We're gonna talk about my favorite Topeka local rap album. My honorable mention is going to be by Fuelo, Steady Mashin'. I quite enjoyed this project. It was so dope. Fuelo got to be Fuelo, and he's gonna have another one coming through sometime soon, so I'm excited for that. But the winner for the category is going to be Seuss Mace and his album Sicko. This one, man, he just put his fun in it, and I felt like he continues to grow as an artist. The way he explores the topics on his life and things in society is dope, and he's just so totally skilled and equipped to get that bigger budget to make it even bigger and weirder in his own way. And I hope he gets that opportunity sometime. So yeah, that's my favorite Topeka local rap album. Now, I don't live there anymore, but I still listen to some of the people in the scene. So Tampa local rap album. This time it's gonna go to Too Much to Rob by Gats and Jordan Patrick. A very, very solid project from Gats that I did quite enjoy a lot, and ended up doing a review on that as well. So if that is something that you are wanting to check out, then look that up on the channel under the music reviews playlist. Okay. But now I'm gonna move on to my favorite independent collaboration, and this one is really no contest in my eyes. That's why there's no honorable mention for this either. And this Stick Figure and Conductor Williams with Valley of Dry Bones. It's not the only collab that Stick Figure did, but this one is the one that hit me the hardest this year. Valley of Dry Bones just has a lot of really great material, and I'm looking forward to what he's going to be doing this year, including the end of the Himself series that is going to be dropping at the beginning of February. I think it's February 3rd. But anyway, Valley of Dry Bones is my favorite independent collaboration project. Sorry, I'm just thirsty. Now, my favorite mainstream collaboration, even though technically I guess it's an independent release, I don't care. It's a mainstream artist, kind of. He's a legend. Nas and Hit Boy on King's Disease 3. Like, when I finally heard it, I finally took the time to listen to it. I wanted to slap myself because I took so long to get to it. It is that freaking good. It is just one of the best albums of the year. And yeah, freaking nasty from beginning to end. Production wild, raps dope. It's just a dream. It's just a dream. So now moving on to the independent R&B album. For me, I had two albums I wanted to bring out, and the honorable mention is going to be Phony People with Euphonious. Really enjoyed this project a lot. It was really dope. They brought the quality that I expect from them, and I was happy that they were finally able to release something so long after Mosaic, and they continue to bring that quality. Yet my favorite independent R&B album that was released this year had to be Deluxe Life from Charlie Taft. This just was that perfect R&B flavor, that throwback R&B flavor that you love. Wonderful chords, harmonies, vocal timbre all on point, lyrics that make you say yeah, and sing along. Love it. Love this project so much, and yeah, killed it for her debut, like full length. So yeah, great stuff. Great stuff. Now moving on to the mainstream R&B album. What is my favorite mainstream R&B album? Now my honorable mention has to be Blue Water Road by Kehlani. Like, Kehlani, man, is still one of them acts that just always seems to like write music in a way that I'm just like, yes, can I hear that all day, please? But there's one project that I felt I returned to a little bit more this year, and now, to be completely honest, I don't know if this artist is truly a mainstream artist, but I hear about her in mainstream channels, so I'm just going to assume she is, and that is Sabrina Claudio with Based on a Feeling. There are so many tracks on here that I just come back to a little bit more than I do on some of the tracks on Blue Water Road. And yeah, I was like, well, I just come back to it more. Based on the Feeling is just so good from beginning to end. I had to like let people know this for sure is my favorite mainstream R&B album. Even if I'm incorrect in claiming her being mainstream. That's where I put it, okay? Leave me alone. Now moving on to independent pop album. Now for this one, it may surprise people, but I feel like this time my honorable mention needs to be put in this category instead of the category I usually have put her in the past, or categorized her past projects. But this one I feel leans a little bit more in the pop realm, and so yeah, my honorable mention is Lindsay Alderman's Tunnel Vision. Fantastic project. Definitely kind of a slightly different feel that you get from her, a little bit more balladry and acoustics than typically heard, and she did a wonderful job on it. But one project I feel was just a stronger independent pop album, and that had to be Eric Nam's There and Back Again. Like it's just wonderful pop, production on this, and he killed it. This is his first like fully independent release, and I had to give him his props because I come back to those songs quite often, and yeah, Eric Nam just knocked it out the park. So I guess he was there and back again because he went around all the bases. You know what I'm saying? Home run. Now we're gonna move on to the mainstream pop album of the year. Well, my favorite of my favorite. Remember, these are just my favorites. I'm not saying it's the best, but they're my favorites. Okay. So my honorable mention has to be Emails I Can't Send by Sabrina Carpenter. Like, this project, like, even though like it came in areas that I didn't expect it to, she just killed it with the songwriting, and the different shades of pop music that she put on it was really, really good. And Nonsense is still like one of my favorite tracks to just listen to on repeat. Like regardless, anywhere, like if it pops up, I'm jamming. I'm never skipping that song. It's just that good. So yeah, fantastic project, but it's not my absolute favorite. That's just the honorable mention. My mainstream pop album, which even hurts me to kind of put it under pop, but I mean she's a pop icon. She is a pop legend. She's one of the divas, and that's Beyonce. It's Beyonce with Renaissance. Now, you know, it definitely does cover a lot of dance, house, and even some soul and funk, but you know, all of that stuff can be in pop, because pop just means popular culture, and who's more important to the culture, like pop culture and music, than Beyonce right now. Like, you can argue she's one of the biggest things, and this album really showed how much she really gives to the craft. The singing on this mug is just phenomenal. The production on this thing is magnificent. Like, you can't deny this album. From beginning to end, you're just on a ride that just makes you say, wow, what else can she do? Because she just keeps finding new pockets to explore and excel, and I loved it. Just loved it. So yeah, that is definitely my favorite mainstream pop album this past year. Now we're gonna get into a little K-pop section, and then we'll hop out of it and return to it. But you know, on this channel I cover a lot of K-pop, so there's a lot of stuff we gotta cover on that section too. So yeah, now K-pop album for a group is how we're going to break this down. So my favorite K-pop album from a group, my honorable mention, the honorable mention has to be the Reva Festival 2022 Feel My Rhythm by Red Velvet. Yes, Feel My Rhythm by Red Velvet. That album, like both of the Red Velvet albums, man, are just like, you can listen to it from beginning to end, no skips, and not worry about a thing, just jam. But I feel, and it may just because it was out longer, that I returned to more of the songs on Feel My Rhythm, like intentionally, than I do the Birthday EP. Because I mean, I'm just saying, man, all these songs so good. Okay, yeah, sorry, it was bothering me too much, I had to look it up. But yeah, fantastic album. But one album I return to more than the Feel My Rhythm EP, and that one happens to be YoungLove.com by Stacey. Like, bruh, another one that's just no skips. Like, the amount of times I return to this album throughout the year is insane. I played it like it was never going out of style, and it still hasn't. Every single song on there you know, Young Love, Butterfly, 24/7. Gosh, there's three more songs. Once again, I'm up here forgetting. Run to You. Oh my gosh, Run to You is also freaking amazing. Like, every song on this album is just amazing. Like, I play it so much. Like, same, that's it. Same, and I Want You, Baby. Like, the fact that they're one of the first groups that I heard do the drill beat, and they killed it with the more R&B vocals and junk. I was like, yo, Stacy out here killing it, bruh. Stacy out here killing it. Like, all of it, man. And yeah, whenever you get Stacy girls, you know it's going down. I'm just saying. It's an amazing project. Love it. So now, let's get into my K-pop album for Soloist. So, I'm gonna try not to be as long-winded as I was here on the group ones, but yeah. So for my honorable mentions, Jamie, One Bad Night is one of them. Freaking love that. It was like a new side to Jamie that I didn't expect to see for a full project, and it was really, really dope to see. But also, I have to mention Gasoline by Key. Like, Key's Gasoline, dog, is insanely good from beginning to end. And it's also like one of those no skip projects, and it's a full length that I'm like, yo, don't skip a track, let that jump play. We love it, we love to see it. Yeah, gotta give props to that. But both of those are just honorable mentions because there's one more album that I put above those, and that's 28 Reasons by Seulgi. Another no skip project that I just it's to die for. I'm like, yo, Seulgi, why are you so good? Her voice is magnificent. The production on it is great. She got to do some different styles on it, and I'm just like, yo, this is just amazing project. And yeah, fantastic solo debut for Seulgi there. So yeah, props. Now we're gonna get into my favorite K-pop song this year. My favorite K-pop song, if you haven't already watched my huge live stream of my top 25 songs of the year, then this is going to be new to you. So my runner-up is Royal by IVE, which is just some lovely pop perfection. But one song I returned to even more than Royal was Glitch by Kwon B, and that song, the fact that the fact that it's a title track to me always super surprises me, because I'm one of those guys who are like, yeah, the title tracks are good, but what are the B-sides like? Because I know B-sides are where the hotness is usually at. Like title tracks would be like, ooh, that's good, and it gets your interest. But usually my favorite tracks always end up being B-sides. But this time, the title track just stole the show. Glitch is just every second of it. I'm just like, my ears are just titillated, and I'm like, yo, I need to listen to that again. And yeah, that's my favorite K-pop song of the year. So now we're gonna move on outside of K-pop. Let's go back to the American side of things, or the Western side of things, and talk about my favorite independent rap album. Now, My runner-up is a project that I have brought up before, which happens to be The Valley of Dry Bones by Stick Figure and Conductor Williams. This collaboration, once again, I just want to mention, was just fantastic. Just love the rapping and the production on it. Amazing. But there's one more project that I like a little bit more than that. And that happens to be Drill Music in Zion by Lupe Fiasco. I've always been a huge Lupe fan, and this project is a display of why he just kills it in every single song, whether he's going super in depth or if he's keeping it light, and he kills it. And the production on it is also just really amazing. I think a lot of it is done by Soundtrack on this particular project, yeah, love it. It's just more lovely Lupe, and that's why he's always going to be one of my biggest influences, even if you can't tell in my own music. But now moving on to my favorite mainstream rap album. Now on the mainstream side of things, man, both of these albums I want to talk about a lot. My runner-up happens to be The Forever Story by J.I.D. Yeah, there was a lot of good rap albums this year, but The Forever Story is going to be my runner-up. This project, bruh, just lets you see J.I.D. in even more of a detailed light, and the way he rapped on the wonderful production from beginning to end is just something that is hard to match. He really killed it, and there's bangers and smooth jams as well, and that's what more could you ask for from JID. He just did great, but there was one album that I feel topped it, and it's another project that lets you see kind of like a little bit more in depth of him and his viewpoints, and that happens to be Denzel Curry with Melt My Eyes, See Your Future, and specifically the extended edition. If there wasn't the extended edition, you might have seen The Forever Story overtake it, but with the extended edition, there are a couple of extra songs, along with live band versions of a good chunk of the songs on this album that run through so many different styles that it is mind-boggling. I'm just like, yo, he covered so many different styles on this project and did it all with ease, and I'm like, yo, Denzel, why do you keep getting better and better? You're not making it easy for us. You're not making it easy for the competition to mess with you, bro. Melt My Eyes, See Your Future is just a fantastic project from beginning to end, and that's why it's my favorite of the year. Now, I'm going to talk to you about my favorite surprise album. Now, I'm not 100% sure if... Now, typically my surprise album, I save for projects that dropped without any notice at all to the public. They just said, here you go. And because, people have been doing that a lot lately. But in this particular case, I'm not sure if there was any lead up to this, but it was a surprise for me because I just saw it pop up somewhere and I was like, wait, that's a thing that's happening? Okay. And that happens to be Black Thought and Danger Mouse, their collaboration on Cheat Codes. Like, Danger Mouse is already like an amazing producer, like truly amazing. And the fact that you have Black Thought, one of the most elite MCs ever to grace the mic and to use a pen and pencil, bruh, like, it's amazing. And then there's so many guest features on here as well that take it to another level as well. And yeah, that's why it's my favorite surprise album of the year, because we all know it's certainly not Honestly Nevermind. Anyway, all shade. Anyway, we're gonna get now into my favorite throwback album, and I just want to throw in this honorable mention, which happens to be The Weeknd's Dawn FM. The way The Weeknd ends up killing this 80s synth pop is amazing. And to me, like, Dawn FM is one of my favorite projects from The Weeknd. He's always been an artist that has been difficult for me to fully get behind, despite his talent, just because of how toxic sometimes his lyrics can be. But now that he's like getting older and starting to, I feel, be a little bit more understanding in the relationships that he describes in these songs, I feel like he has really risen up in my listenability list, and that's why, like, he is my runner up for favorite throwback album, an album that just like captures an old sound, but the one that's I still come back to much more than Dawn FM is the Deluxe Life by Charlie Taft. That R&B, that classic R&B sound is something that I love so much more and come back to a little bit more often. And so yeah, Charlie Taft once again gets another one of my favorites badges. So for throwback album of the year, it's going to Charlie Taft. Now we're going to go into my favorite comeback album, and when I say comeback album, I don't mean it in a K-pop sense. I mean it in the Western sense, as it's been a long time since you released something, and now you finally came back with something for the masses to enjoy. And my honorable mention here has to be Neo with Self-Explanatory, because Neo came back and brought old school and new school in a way that I quite enjoyed, and he did a fantastic job with that. And after, not releasing any albums for a while, but the best comeback album of the year most certainly has to go to Kendrick Lamar with Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers. It like, do I really have to say it? Like, it was truly a therapy session put to music, and it explored so many different things about himself, and where he's been throughout this whole time being away from the music scene and dealing with COVID and his own trauma in his life, and thinking about how it could going through his own demons can possibly help others as well. And yeah, it's an immaculate project. It's definitely a little bit harder to have a lot of repeat listens. You really have to get yourself put in that mode to listen to that album, but it's an amazing album regardless. And I'm pretty sure a lot of people would probably put that as their mainstream rap album of the year. But for me, it's just gonna have to get mentioned in my favorite comeback album. Now, up next is going to be my favorite Curveball album, an album that came with a sound that I definitely did not expect whatsoever, and I enjoyed it for being different, and that happens to be Nicki's Nicole album. Now, it's not a complete curveball, since I know that this is the more singer-songwriter approach is something that she has done in the past, but she's like dipped away from it for a while and was going a little bit more R&B-ish, alternative R&B at times. Like she had like small glimpses of it at her last project. Oh gosh, why is it like now the singles names are coming to my mind? What's like Switchblade, Pandemonium, Moonchild is, I believe, is the name of that album. Yeah. So she had small glimpses of like that singer-songwriter style in there, especially with like the closing track. I think it's called Drive. But yeah, for her to go way back to kind of her roots to more stripped back singer-songwriter material for this Nicole album was quite a change that I did not expect, and it was great. Even with some of those songs being songs she's released before but just kind of reworked for now. It was an amazing project and told a beautiful story of her past and the relationship that she was in. So greatness, and that's why it's my favorite Curveball album of 2022. So up next is we're gonna get into some kind of artist specific categories. So we have my favorite K-pop soloist to watch this year, and my runner-up would have to be Alexa. Watching her this past year was amazing, because not only did she do the whole basically Eurovision, but US American Song Contest, there you go, the American version of Eurovision, in representing Oklahoma. Not only did she do that, but she also like had her own little reality show with the Korean network, where she was just trying to build her audience in Korea. She's got to go on tour this year, well, that last year, and even though I didn't get to go, I wanted to, but I didn't get to go. But she got to go on tour, and then she dropped her newest EP along with the other singles, with like Wonderland, Tattoo. I think she dropped one more. Last year, but for some reason I'm not 100% sure. But either way, it was amazing watching her last year. But she is not the absolute favorite one to watch, which happens to be BB. BB dog is like watching her and seeing her tour and do the festivals and do so much more work with Western media, and her, you know, like really getting such a good grasp on English, and to be able to do the Western media interviews and such, and even including it in some of her music, and then also her dropping the full-length album. Like watching BB last year was just great. Loved it oh so much. Mwah. Love you, BB. Now let's move on to my favorite K-pop group to watch. All right, I have a lot of honorable mentions on this one. Just like last year, there's too many to not name. So I'm gonna go ahead and be brief on my honorable mentions, which happen to be Red Velvet. Love seeing everything that Red Velvet did last year. Stray Kids. Love seeing everything that Stray Kids was doing last year. And Billy. they've been wonderful to watch. Variety content, lore, all that good stuff. But my favorite group to watch like through the year had to be LE SSERAFIM. Yeah, LE SSERAFIM, man, seeing how they operate and how much like support that they get has been absolutely amazing, and just seeing how they're trying to be different, and yeah, I just think that they're such a powerful group in what they stand for, and just seeing what they're doing to try and somewhat change things on how idols can be looked at. Like Yoonjin is definitely like my bias in that group for that reason, because she's fearless and wanting to be her own person and not be afraid to be herself as an idol, and I love that. So that kind of is what makes them my favorite group to watch. But don't worry. I know there's another group that's in your mind that you're just like, really? You're not gonna put them in your honorable mentions. Don't worry, they'll be mentioned later, okay? But we're gonna move over to my favorite rapper to watch. My favorite rapper to watch last year was definitely Kendrick Lamar. Seeing how he operated, the few performances that he did, wish I got to go to the Big Steppers tour, but regardless, being able to see the promotions he did for that album, be it the limited performances, or even the music videos that he dropped for the project, were all so very interesting, and loved every second of that. But one rapper I have to say I enjoyed watching a little bit more than Kendrick Lamar happens to be JID. And JID has been grinding for a minute, but it felt like this was like his breakout year with the promotion of the Forever Story, like seeing how many more people are like getting to know Jid and like see him as like one of the next like rappers up has been really exciting. So that has made him my favorite rapper to watch. Now we're gonna get into my favorite singer to watch, and in this normally you would have seen him under the rapper to watch category, but now that he's much more of a singer these days, my runner-up is Russell. And yeah, it's been interesting to watch him because he's been dropping singles here and there, but then he also had like a lot of like little hiatuses, little breaks away from the internet, and it made us concerned due to it being two depressive periods in his life, and so it's been interesting to watch him because there's times where we get to notice that he's getting past it and that it's great, and then he can release some more great music. But you know, all I can say is that I'm keeping an eye on him, not only for, you know, the music, but just trying to make sure that he makes it through, because I know he's going through a lot, still mourning the loss of his mother and other things that weigh down on him, that what I think partially includes some of the rest of his family as well. But yeah, very interested to watch him, and also, you know, I'm still continuing to support his clothing line that is now Sweetheart, and seeing what he's doing with that as well. But there's one singer that I say I liked to watch a little bit more than Russell, and that's Jackson Wang. The way he's been promoted his Magic Man throughout the year has been so amazing. So amazing. Like, he's so interesting to watch. And then even like the many different podcast appearances he's had, and even the little bit he got to do when GOT7 did their comeback. It's been great to see Jackson Wang continue to be this amazing human being who does so much, directing videos, doing the dancing, the choreography, and rapping, singing. He's been amazing to watch and kind of inspiring, and so yeah, been my favorite of the year to watch. Now we are going to talk about K-pop rookies. Now, my honorable mentions for K-pop rookies are gonna be Triple S. Oh my gosh, really fun to watch them, especially since they upload daily. They have a very interesting concept, so it's like figuring out how that's gonna work. I mean, they already got to release their first unit. They have a 10-member unit song coming here sometime soon, and then they also have a whole nother subunit, Crystallized, to come out. So very interesting to watch them. Classy is another rookie group that has been interesting to watch, or at least listen to, because I never did watch the teenage girls show or whatever, but Classy, the music that they've been releasing has been very fun to keep up with throughout the year, and that's something that made them an honorable mention. The other honorable mention I have to put here is New Jeans. Yeah, it's New Jeans. This is the other group that I feel like people were thinking I'm missing when it came to favorite group to watch. So I put them under the rookies, and this was because when I was coming up with this list, I really only had their first EP like in mind. Now, if I were to put them, if I were to include everything that's happened with Ditto and OMG, this might be a different list, but I only had in mind the first EP and New Jeans with their whole concept and everything, and the little bit of controversy. It's been interesting to watch them, and how the world has embraced them, or kept them at arm's length. But the number one group, the favorite, the absolute favorite K-pop rookies to watch for me, once again, is LE SSERAFIM, and just how they've been marketed, as mentioned before, has been amazing, because they've been able to also do a little bit of media with English speaking content creators, and I believe, if I remember correctly, even some radio stations. So it's been interesting to see that happen and see them really everywhere. But overall, what wins them over the most is the music. They've had 2 EPs so far that I just absolutely adored, and yeah, I can't wait to see what else they're gonna end up doing. I'm really looking forward to seeing what they continue to do in their second year. So yeah. Up next, we got my favorite K-pop debut album. My favorite album debut. And that has to go to New Jeans with their self-titled debut. The way they released this junk, as mentioned before, was just amazing. Starting off with Attention, just rocking our world with that. That was awesome. Really enjoyed that. And then they came through and hit us with 4.5 videos for Hype Boy, and I was like, yo, their concept and the way they were doing this is insane. And plus, the song is dope. Wow, that's so cool. And then they gave us Hurt, the B-side, and they gave us a really cool, interesting video with that, with all the soft bokeh effect, on there, and the close-ups and everything, and that was a wonderful track. And then ending off with Cookie, which ended up being one of my favorite songs from them, from the release at least, even despite the controversial lyrics. Like, bruh, everything about that EP is so dang good. It's my favorite, and I put it on repeat a lot. And so that was my favorite K-pop debut album. But now we're gonna get into my favorite US debut album, and my honorable mention has to be from Bella Poarch with the Dolls EP. I feel like this was a very, very solid debut EP from Bella. She got to show that she does take the music seriously. She has an interesting sound. It may be sound a little derivative, but it's still done very well. You can tell that she's very personal with the lyrics, even if sometimes they could be more on the vague side. But it was still a very solid release, and that's my honorable mention for a debut album. But my favorite debut album has to go to Deluxe Life by Charlie Taft. Like, yeah, she's getting another award, if you would say. That album she just killed it. She killed it. There's nothing more that I could say other than you should just go watch my reaction video to it. Yeah, I did a reaction video to it. So yeah, you should be checking that out because it's dope. It is so dope. And it's my favorite US debut album. So basically anything outside of K-pop. Now to get into some of the biggest favorite awards, and we're gonna start off with my favorite song of the year. And my honorable mention has to be Glitch by Kwanum B. Already mentioned it earlier as my favorite K-pop song of the year, and it's so good. Like, you can't deny how amazing that song is. But it did not beat out another song for my favorite of the entire year, and that has to be The Heart Part 5 by Kendrick Lamar. This song and the impact it had on so many different people, and also just how it felt to me, like watching and listening to it for the first time. I was like, yo, Kendrick, you are going off, and you are making some points that are just like, wow, amazing, like truly one of the best songs that I've heard last year, and it happens to be my favorite of the year. But now for my favorite album of the year. I'm sure you're gonna think it has to be something that's been mentioned before. And you're right. My honorable mention is gonna be Denzel Curry's Melt My Eyes See Your Future, the extended edition. This album, as mentioned before, just so good from beginning to end, so varied, and I just love it. It makes me love hip-hop like so much more because just how greatly it was displayed on that project. But it's not my favorite album of the year, because you know who that goes to? Goes to Stacy. younglove.com. Like I mentioned, I literally would put this album on repeat. Like when it comes to Melt My Eyes, See Your Future, the extended edition, I would go back to it often, but I wouldn't just like say put the album on repeat and listen to the album like literally back to back to back to back to back. With Melt My Eyes, See Your Future, I would go back to it often, but there would be stuff in between. With younglove.com, I literally would just listen to that album for hours, and it's not an hour long. That's what I'm saying. I would go back again and again and again. Let's listen to these 6 songs again and again, because it was just that great. It was just that great and a fun of a listening experience, and that is what makes it my album of the year. I got to. But yeah, that's gonna conclude this year's musical favorites of 2022. I once again apologize that it came out so late into 2023, but yeah. Normally I'd have a favorite song that I released, but last year I didn't release anything, so hopefully that can be different this year, and that I will actually get to recording a bit more. Like I did end up recording something, but nothing got released. Yeah. We'll see what happens in 2023. It's already starting off really well. There's been some really great, at least K-pop songs that I've gotten to hear so far. Looking forward to some other releases that will be coming out this year. We'll see what happens, and hopefully I'll be writing and recording a little bit more this year as well. That is one of my goals, to actually get back into that. But yeah. Tell me what are some of your favorite projects and artists and songs of the year, and down below I'll be really curious to find that out. And yeah, if you enjoyed listening to me talk for about an hour, you can hit the like button. You can subscribe for more reactions and reviews here on the channel, and that Patreon link is still in the description box. Thank you so much for those who are already supporting, and yeah, until next time, much love, peace.